Good evening and welcome to Footy Corner. I'm Sparks. Nice to see you. If you're just joining us, please make sure you're hitting the like, subscribe, and drop any comments in the chat, and we'll get up to them. We've got Varun. He's back on the channel. He can't get enough. How are we?
Good, good. Thanks. How about you?
Yeah, yeah, not too bad. That's not bad at all. And we got Tabs. Yeah, having a bit of a meltdown himself, but not over football.
How you doing,
Yeah.
guys? Sorry, I'm now deaf as well as blind because I forget how loud you have that intro music on, and it's like, oh god.
I don't even know how loud it is, to be honest. I don't even have to turn it down. I will be
Yeah, it's
completely
very
honest with
loud.
you.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
very loud in my ears, but no, that's fine. It's only when it starts. We're all having a nice chat beforehand. They say, right, I'm going to play the music. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's just to wake you up.
Yeah, I'm awake. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn it down. So maybe I'll have something I need to look towards in the next version, which is coming soon.
It's fine. Easily solved if I just take my headphones off. So it's fine.
Yeah, turn the earphones down.
Yes, I think it's on my side. Not yours.
But there you go. I hear you. I don't know if it's I don't know if everybody else kind of gets this, but when you're on channels and stuff, and somebody sat about 3 weeks away from a mic, and they're sat back there and they're really quiet, and everybody else has got up to microphones like this, and it's just like you can hear everybody perfectly until this guy comes in, and then you have to whack the volume up, and then everybody else explodes your eardrums. It's a bit crazy. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, we've had a little bit of eventuality with the Villarreal game. Varun, what did you make of that, mate?
I mean, we still didn't see the actual first choice 11. I think that we are planning to play at Old Trafford.
Were you a
next
bit
weekend.
disappointed that happened?
No, not really. I think I would be a little bit concerned if we didn't see it like the first choice 11 or as close to it as possible. If we didn't see them play this Saturday, then maybe I'd be a little bit concerned. Because I do think on Saturday, being the final preseason match, we should be now playing something close to what is going to start at Old Trafford. But it was fine for this one, I think, to continue experimenting and playing a little bit within our means. And we know Arteta doesn't want to give away much to the opposition. So I kind of understand his mindset there, that you don't want to be playing the first 11 too much before the actual first game of the season, because it just gives opposition managers more time to evaluate what we do and try and find weaknesses in it. You want to give opposition teams as little chance as possible to do that.
Yeah, do you agree with that, Tabs? Do you think that was what's going on?
I think there's an element to that. You don't want to show all your cards to the opposition, for the Old Trafford game, and look, he'll be looking for any signs that he can sort of exploit or whatever. So I think there is an element of that, but I guess you need to balance that between creating the relationships, getting the team playing as a unit. But I think, like Varun was saying, I think against Athletic on Saturday, that's when we'll see as near as damn our first 11, if not like at least 8 out of the 11 will be starting. So I think there are elements to it, but I still think there are still, irrespective of the lineup and the change and all the rest of it, there are still some things that you can learn, but also some concerns in terms of how it turned out, not the result, but the performance and some elements to it. So, but it's always hard to judge. It's pre-season, 80%.
Yeah, for sure.
Fitness, etc.
Yeah, what actually stood out for you then? What was actually concerning you from, or actually standing out from a good perspective, if you like?
Well, from a positive, look, more minutes in the legs, getting Gyökeres, getting some minutes. I think the two standouts for me were Nordgaard. He looked pretty good in terms of breaking up. Was there to score a header, and then that the standout player is a 15-year-old, and I think he's been our player of the preseason, and it's down to a 15-year-old to be your standout player. So maybe again he's trying harder in inverted commas versus the others who are sort of easing themselves in. I don't know, but those are sort of, for me, particularly from yesterday, was the two positives I would say to take from the that game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can associate that with last season as well, when you've got an 18-year-old kind of coming through, or two 18-year-olds as it were, and one picked the post of the other one and kind of stole the show, didn't he? Really. So Lewis Skelly kind of overtook Nwaneri a little bit and kind of stole his thunder a little bit from last season, and it could happen again, couldn't it? It literally could happen again, where Nwaneri doesn't get his recognition again because everybody's watching out for Downman. Do you think that's possible to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with Tabs with what he said with the positives. And while Dowman has been definitely one of the positives of preseason in general, Arteta's also said that he hasn't yet had a break. So I think there will be opportunities for Dowman where he will start on the bench in certain games for us. If it were me, I don't think I would start him on the bench at the very beginning of the season. We have a tough start to the season, and you have to be very careful how you manage players that young that are definitely kind of punching above the level where most people his age play. What I do want to highlight, and Khalid's pointed this out as well, that Nwaneri has been one of the positives as well of preseason for sure. I think he's had most of his performances have been very good. And he's been playing kind of in that Odegaard position, which I think he's staking a claim more and more to be a good, reliable understudy or backup should we need it for Odegaard to manage his minutes from now and then. So he was positive again yesterday, I thought, and I agree Norgard was excellent. It was good that he managed to get a goal as well to cap off what was a very good first half performance. And Zubimendi as well, when he came on, was excellent. I think he's been, you mentioned this last time, that he's kind of been slept on a little bit just because of how long that transfer seemed to be drawn out. But he, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people, and they're going to start to notice more and more what he offers once we actually have the first 11 and we have more fluidity and the sharpness is all there. I think he is going to be key. He was excellent yesterday too.
Yeah, Tabs, do you think that's actually something that he's trying to keep under the radar, that he's trying to keep the fact that Zubi can spray balls and actually hit the striker and kind of bring other players into the fray a bit sooner, a bit more clinically?
To be honest, I don't think there are any surprises in football in terms of players because, Liverpool were looking at him, Real Madrid were looking at him, top teams were looking at him. So I don't think there's any surprises. He's a Euro Cup winner as well and stuff. So I don't think in terms of what he offers, not going to go, oh, is that what Zubimendi does? So but it's how he fits in within our team and how we use him, and then how our other players adapt to him, and then how that changes our tactics and the way we play. So then that's the bit that you're sort of trying to maybe hide or shield, mask, whatever. Not show everything too soon, because you're right. I think it was what was interesting yesterday, or frustrating, or depending how you want to see it, was the fact that Zubimendi and Odegaard came on, but then Gyökeres went off, and you want to see those three together working because they're the people that Gyökeres makes the runs that those guys can find and then ideal for. Whereas Marino went up front, and then here we are again having Marino up front as our centre forward. So again, it would have been nice to see that one. I think we'll see it at the weekend. So I think that looking back at yesterday, there was sort of half the team did not suit the other half of the team, and so that's why you got maybe a bit more of a disjointed performance. You didn't get that fully rounded performance that we would hope to expect, and things like that. But yeah, in terms of Zubimendi, I don't think there's going to be any surprise what he offers and what he does.
Yeah, I was actually talking about whether the the way he's kind of implemented, rather than, you know, obviously there's YouTube now. You know, it's not a thing when we were watching transfers happen on CFAX. It's not quite the same, you know, because everybody goes, who, you know, who's that player that's kind of dropped over, and oh, let me look it up on YouTube. Wasn't a thing. So you know, everybody's kind of privy to the same information, but yeah, I just kind of feel that that maybe he's just trying to mask and just cover up exactly how things are going to work and how effective they're going to be.
Yeah, I think it's more about how our players adapt to him and the formations and the tactics around him. As I said, people know he's 2-footed. He'll be quick off the pass. He can spray it left and right, and all the rest of it. It's just, can Saka, Martinelli, Havertz, you know, Gyökeres be in the positions to receive the ball and then, you know, be more offensive.
Yeah, there was a couple of balls there that kind of went through, and it kind of reminded me of the Raya ball that he played that was a bit suicidal, but with control. So it was like it had a much better effect to it, and it actually got players on the front foot rather than you know, playing them into trouble, basically.
Yeah.
So and I think that's literally what Submendi's going to offer completely. I just think he's going to be a game changer. I really do. But he's going to basically bring transition football back, and obviously not single-handedly, but yeah, that's what we were saying. Oh, that's what I said to you, Varun, wasn't it, on the previous show? So it's going to be interesting to see if that actually happens, or if I look like I've got, you know, lots of egg on my face, you know. But yeah, it's certainly interesting to see. A lot of chat being had about Martinelli and in his inefficiencies and whatever. What did you make of him, Varun?
I thought he started the game very, very well. Actually, I think the opening 15, 20 minutes at least, he was doing a solid job, and he was kind of combining well with the players around him. There were a couple of instances in the second half, I think, where it felt like he'd fallen into the old habits just a little bit in terms of the not looking up where he maybe should have. I know one instance where he was brought down just past the halfway line. He was driving the ball forward, but Gyökeres had made a good run between a couple of defenders and not crowding Martinelli's space, but kind of using the remaining space ahead quite well. And Martinelli had been focused on avoiding the tackle and getting the ball forward, that he didn't look up and see that opportunity for a pass. And I was the standout one, I remember, because I was a little worried about Martinelli afterwards, because he was brought down and then he was limping for a minute or so afterwards. And I remember my primary concern at that time was, is he okay? Because as much as I think he does have areas of his game to work on, to improve, if Trossard is injured and Martinelli is injured, now we have a big problem, because we have no left winger at all. So my first concern was, is he okay? Because he might be the only left wing option we have for the first match of the season. But afterwards, when I went back and looked at it, when I knew Martinelli was okay and all, I kind of looked at the replays and everything. I thought, if he had gotten up, or looked up, sorry, at that moment, he might have spotted a pass. And Gyökeres thrives on transitions. That would have been a slightly transitional moment, which maybe we would have seen more from Gyökeres. That happened a few times, that Gyökeres made some good runs and wasn't spotted. I think it will take time for our players to get used to it.
But that wasn't just happening from Martinelli's point.
No, not it happened from others
MLS one. There was one that stood out that for me, MLS was on the left wing, and Gyökeres made a really good run, and it was like, you know, let it go, just send it now. Too late. You have to go inside. So
it will take time.
Yeah, of
definitely.
course, but yeah, when you see it kind of developing, and you know that that's kind of what we've missed,
Yeah.
and you kind of see somebody not kind of acting on it the way that you would like it to happen.
Mhm.
Granted, we're not on the pitch, and it's easy to look on and go, "This is how it should be going." Specifically, when you're an 18-year-old or whatever as well, is very hard to say. But I didn't think MLS had his best game. I don't know about what you thought.
He hasn't. It's an odd one. This is it's going to be an interesting season for him, because last year he came on, was a surprise. Teams didn't really know what to expect, or it took a while. Now people know what you get with MLS, and I think they're going to target him, going to pressurize him. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts and evolves to that. And it's an odd thing to say to an 18-year-old midfielder who's playing left back and has only been there for half a season. How he's going to do that, but he's set a standard for himself and for the
Yeah.
team. So it's. And again, it's how is he going to evolve and adapt and learn from that position? Because I think everything's new and exciting, and everything seems to work this year. I think he's been targeted 2 or 3 times. Okay, maybe not helped by passes like Rayo, or not by the referee, but you've noticed that he hasn't been his usual self, and it feels like, I know. So it's sometimes the play sort of stops when the ball gets to him, and whatever I think he maybe needs to be able to progress the ball more, or he starts to move, and then he's the one that passes that out, rather than him be like the second or third ball. He should be the one getting the ball and passing it on, because it just feels sometimes when he gets it, he'll be targeted, the ball stops, and he either gets a free kick, and it's just, I think momentum breaks sometimes with him, because I said he gets targeted, and what he's trying to do, there's 3 outcomes. He either gets fouled, he breaks away, or he gives the ball away. And I think there's been a bit more of the fouls or him giving the ball away than last season. I think he was able to break free more. So look, this is an 18-year-old kid. It's amazing how
for sure. I mean,
our expectations are going through.
Yeah, he's done that himself.
Yeah.
He's made the expectations.
Yeah.
And for me, defensively, I thought he was very worrying.
The whole defense wasn't great. I don't think he
no,
was.
No, the defense. I'm not saying he was culpable.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that from that side, even when Martinelli was covering him or not covering him, as the case may be, it was very suspect. And hopefully we're not going to see that kind of worrying passage of play in the actual league when we get to there.
And just on your point, we were talking about Martinelli before. He has plateaued, and it is a bit concerning, or he hasn't gone the level that we had hoped. He 2-3 seasons ago, 15 goals in a season, and he has plateaued. But I think he's also been a victim of how the left-hand side have played. So it's a combination of him plateauing, but also our left-hand side has always been a bit disjointed, always hasn't been the right effective way. You always compare it to the right. So when you got Odegaard and Ben White and Saka, it all looks very easy, all very nice triangles and stuff. Whereas Martinelli sort of like left on his own, and also he's not a player for when we're playing against low blocks. Give him space to run into. He's always had his head down, but give him space to run into, and I think he can exploit that. And I think now he's lost confidence, or he overthinks it. Whereas beforehand he'd get the ball, cut inside, shoot, get to the byline, cross, and now he's sort of maybe been overcoached, and so he's sort of like, you can see him thinking as he's playing. The best footballers, you don't see him thinking; they just do. Whereas in a way, you can see him just not sure what he's supposed to do and stuff like that. So I think there's an element of, 1, him plateauing, but 2, maybe a bit of overcoaching, and 3, just the left-hand side has always been a bit dysfunctional, for want of a better word, compared to the right-hand side. So it's always hard to judge Martinelli in that context.
But there is one other thing as well about it. It's not just about our system and our left-hand side. I think if you compare the season where he scored 15 goals, teams set up against us very differently, because they weren't expecting us to be as good as we ended up being that season. So there were lots more opportunities for transitions that season, which is what Martinelli thrives on. Having those open spaces, like you said, behind the opposition if they're playing high lines, or even just not a complete low block. Whereas after that season, I think teams started to show us that little bit more respect. And how do teams do that nowadays? They sit deep. They make sure that they've got their lines really compact. They're all crowding around their own box, trying to make sure there's no space available to us. Now suddenly Martinelli's pace and his ability to just exploit transitional spaces isn't there as much, simply because there's no opportunity for transitions that much when we're controlling games that much. So yes, the left hand side has gone through a lot of changes, but because of the way we've set up, or the system we have, or the players we have, whatever the reasoning is, it's also about the fact that teams now set up against us more often than not with a low block. That being said, with Gyökeres in there, in lineups, I would imagine for a lot of games, whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, that maybe is a sign of us moving into game styles or game states that are more transitional based. And if that happens, then I expect that Martinelli will start thriving again. But I wouldn't say there's major room for concern yet. Obviously, Martinelli's not had as explosive of a preseason as maybe a lot of people were hoping for, but with the way that we've been focused, I think, on giving minutes to everybody and getting them all sharp, I think that has been the priority, because otherwise, why would we have started our second choice midfield with our arguably first choice forward line yesterday against Villarreal?
Yeah,
you don't do that unless you're focused on giving minutes to everyone and getting the sharpness up. I think that being the priority means, and there were still positives to take from Martinelli's game yesterday, despite that disjointedness, as you put it. So I wouldn't be worried too much yet. I think if we play a mostly first choice 11 to start the game this weekend, and then there's glaring errors, maybe then there's some cause for concern, because there is no more room for preparation at that point. But I still do think that Arteta doesn't want to give away his entire strategy yet. I think he'll use the preseason game, even the last one, to just get those guys playing together for the first time properly, but then he'll work on the minute details in the training sessions next week leading up to United.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion again before as well, but on either Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember exactly which one it was. And it's like, well, I trust Gyökeres to take the ball, I trust Saka to take the ball, I trust Ødegaard to take the ball. So basically, if you're getting a spraying ball from Zubimendi, I trust those players to take it. And there was one ball that actually went to Martinelli. And I thought about that conversation that we had, and I was like, that just kind of just proves the point that I don't trust him to do it. But I think it plays differently. I think you play to a Gyökeres, you play to Ødegaard, you play to Saka, and you go back to what we used to play and basically switch the play quickly, get back into a transitional type of play. And that's kind of where this goes, where it says, if he doesn't suit the system, why keep him? We've changed players, and the system has to change. It simply has to. It can't possibly stay the same. And I, from what I saw, out of possession, we were taking up a 4-2-4 formation, which kind of leads me to believe that it's going to be very similar to the way Liverpool play, where either a kick and run or a through pass, basically a quicker transitional style of football is going to happen. But I think we saw it for such a short period of time that you can't really take anything from it. And with the personnel on the pitch, you can't really judge if it's actually going to work because you haven't seen it. But that's kind of the way I saw it. It was like, well, the system is changing, it's adapting. Whether we're seeing the full adaptation or not is the question, isn't it? Because, we're not in the training sessions. We're just watching what develops. And all these meltdowns that are happening online, and it's basically, this, that, and the other. And you're like, oh, you need to change the system. Well, how do you know the system's not being changed as we speak? Because, the one thing you can say about Arteta and the coaching staff and everything is they're not stupid. You know, I know everybody gets on the manager's back, gets on the coach's backs, who does this, that, and the other, but they're not stupid. They know what they're doing, and they know that like their jobs are on the line as much as anybody else does. So, you know, why would they stick with the same philosophy when it's proved not to have worked, and just go down the same avenues? I just don't understand how anybody would think that that's what they're doing, especially when you think for the last 3 seasons we've very minutely changed every season. So
I think
very progressive the first season. Say again.
No, I was just saying, I think you made a good point with the fact that the system is changing, and have we seen the final version of this adapted change to the system? No, obviously not. We've just got the new players in. It will take time. It's not like playing on the PlayStation, right? It's not clicking a few buttons saying the tactics have changed and now suddenly everybody knows what to do. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's going to be this, teething period where everyone figures it out. There will be mistakes made, but there are signs of us starting to use, or at least have, a new way of attacking and playing in our style. Yes, we're still capable of playing the way that we have done for the last 2 seasons, dominating teams, suffocating them, pushing them back into their box. There will be games where that's needed, where we just exert control and push them back and make sure they can't get out. We do that quite well. We know we can do that well. There will be games where that is the strategy that is still needed. But the new signings we've brought in allow us to play transitionally now. Obviously, that is something that the coaching staff will be implementing. They'll be making it work. We are not seeing the finished product yet. Of course, there's no way that the product will be finished yet. But I back them to make sure that it is finished and ready at the important moments of the season.
I think maybe then the concern is that the important moment of the season is on August the 17th. And so we're 10 days away from that. So I guess it's just a feeling. I think there's an underlying, the pressure's on. So we've gone from, oh my God, where did that come from? We're finishing second. What a fun season, whatever, to, oh, we got so close, but we can understand, and all the rest of it, but second again, and all the rest of it. So I think there's just an underlying thing there, just bubbling away, that the good feelings from a couple of seasons back, and where it's all surprise and the good football. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing the same old faults again. And there are the caveats of that it is pre-season, but also you expect that as you progress through pre-season, that you start to see at least some evolution, even if we are disjointed, just to see some green shoots there. And I think there's just, playing devil's advocate here. Look, I'm not overly concerned, but I'm just trying to maybe give those who are a voice. Is that it's just like, we're playing Man United away. Granted, they finished 15th last season, and they're a mid-table team. But
forget that.
But it's a mid-table. But it's Man United away, so it's always a difficult one. And so what we're seeing at the moment is that we're having all the possession. We are good at transitioning and breaking up teams and getting the ball back. What we aren't good at is creating those final third quality chances as a result of the transition, or the result of breaking it up. And we're seeing that again, is that we're not banging down the door. We're not creating chance after chance after chance. We've got, excellent field tilt. We've got all the pressure in the world, but that's only takes you to the point. And I don't think people are seeing that end product, or even doesn't have to be the end product, that chances, almost scoring. So creating these sort of high ranking XG and all the rest of it. And I think that's where maybe some of the concerns are, is that, seen this before. I'm hoping to see an evolution or something a bit different. Granted, caveats of pre-season, but also you do want to see an element of that, of something different, from the frustrations of last season. So I think there's elements of that to that as well.
I agree with you, but I also think that what makes it actually worse than that is that we were so solid on defense and kind of built on defense. And actually in pre-season, we seem to have reverted back to pre-second place and the transition of the defensive stability. So we can't make our transition count, but we're vulnerable to the transition ourselves. And I think that doesn't help. And that does ring alarm bells for me. But again, you know, Gabriel and just come back.
Yeah.
Saliba's on the wrong side. Mosquera, our third right back, centre back.
Looks good.
Didn't look out of place at all.
Looks good.
And that was one of the positions that really worried me going into the end of the season. That basically Saliba going down. We didn't have cover for him, and people say, "Oh, you're just buying defenders. You're just buying defenders. You're just buying defenders." Well, for me, I think we needed that defender, specifically with Timber having his operation. White also had an operation last season. So if they get recurrences and whatever, then we need to have cover and not play a central midfielder at right back. So I'd rather see a left back at right back than the central midfielder, especially Zubimendi, because I think he would be so wasted if he was going to right back anyway. So but yeah. I personally think that he's going to be a massive development for the team, and I actually said to Varun, I think he's going to be the signing of Arteta's era completely. I really think that, and I'm prepared to have egg on my face. I've said it 3 times now. I've said it on 3 streams, but that's just my opinion. I'm not afraid to be proved right or wrong. I don't care. What I want is I want my team to lift a trophy this season. I think we've got past the vibes situation. I think we now need to get to a final. We need to win a final, or we need to win a league. We need to get over the line. Because unfortunately, those question marks over the manager, if it happens again, they're just going to get louder and louder and louder and louder.
Given the chances of winning the Premier League is like at 30%, or the Champions League is at 30%.
Is it that much?
It's high 20s, low 30s, and lower for a domestic cup. Is that a reasonable expectation
for a club like Arsenal? Yes, it is. Yeah, I think it is. I think at least a domestic trophy should be on the cards. I mean,
but the odds of winning a domestic trophy are even less.
Yeah, but you look at the way we played against Manchester United and went out against Manchester United. We were all over them, and we just didn't take our chances. So all right, even if you put it, get into a final or get into 2 finals or whatever, without actually lifting a silverware.
Maybe the question was wrong, as opposed to is that a reasonable expectation? No, I think we expect to be challenging for the top trophies. It's not that. If you don't win, that could be considered unsuccessful?
I don't think so personally, because I think as fans of a big club like Arsenal, you should, at least at this stage, we should be able to kind of hope that we're in the conversation and challenging for the big trophies, and arguably on all 4 fronts this season. That, I think, is a fair expectation, and that's kind of the most that we really have a right to expect as fans, is just be up there in those conversations. And if there's mitigating factors along the way, we have to be willing to accept those. So, for example, last season when we got hit by injury after injury, the season before it was Liverpool that got hit by injuries constantly, which is when they dipped out of the title race. But if you think back to 23-24, when we'd had one title challenging season that surprised everybody, the question was now, could we maintain it again and maybe get over the line? I don't think anybody was really upset when we didn't win the title at the end of that season. We went 16-1-1 in the second half of that campaign. Can you really ask for more? We just happened to be up against City, who if they managed to get a better second half of the season than we did, even though we did so well, fine, fair play, they did it. But we were in the conversation up to the last day. Last season, the league wasn't so great for us. We were behind too far to catch up, I think, by the time February hit. But in the Champions League, we had great moments. You know, we got past Real Madrid, beat them home and away, made it to the Champions League semi-final for the first time in 16 years. That is, you're in the conversation at the biggest stages. And I think as long as we can manage that, and like you said, Sparks, like maybe get to a final or two finals, you know, be up there. Like we shouldn't be getting knocked out in the third or fourth round of the FA Cup. I agree. We should be in the conversation for the biggest trophies, for any of the trophies, whether it's the Carabao Cup, Champions League, Premier League, doesn't matter. We should be up there, and this was the goal of this summer, was to have enough signings and depth that we should be able to rotate and do well in all the competitions. So do I think that the season's unsuccessful automatically if we don't win a trophy? No, I think it depends on the circumstances. If you manage to finish second on goal difference in the Premier League and you make it to the Champions League final and the FA Cup final and Carabao Cup quarterfinals or semifinals, do you count that as unsuccessful? I wouldn't at all.
Yeah, but that's going to be a triple second, isn't it? That if that ever happens, yeah, the masters of second, the bridesmaids, the proper bridesmaids, never the bride, all the cliches are going to come out if that's the case.
Yeah, but let the cliches come out.
Yeah.
Let the people say what they want to say. Let them.
I mean, I take that to a point, but the point of obviously supporting teams as well is to actually win stuff, and I take the point, and I'm with that thesis for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and I don't buy into this crap because we haven't won the FA Cup for God knows how long. The FA Cup's worthless, because that's what a lot of fans kind of peddle. This trophy's worthless, but yeah, my Conference Leagues is fine though. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, if you're gonna have standards, you have standards for everything. Don't just give me standards and then you not take any.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a show a bit ago, and the guy is talking about a Chelsea treble. The guy was talking about a Chelsea treble, and then basically said Arsenal won't be in a title race. And you're like, how can you talk about a treble for Chelsea and then believe that Arsenal won't be in the title race just because it suits agendas, narratives, whatever?
Well, that's why I was saying let people say what they want to say, because most of social media now is point scoring. It's people trying to get clicks.
It's all point scoring, but
I know.
But we're fans, and we get the brunt of it. That, you know, Mikel Arteta's not listening to social media. He's going wherever, you know, having a glass of wine, doing whatever. We're listening to social media. We're the ones on this platform that basically make ourselves targets to basically be mocked or whatever. And our ability has to be, well, we either deal with it or actually our club actually stands up and provides some kind of silverware to give us some ammunition to fire back. That's exactly what we want, isn't it?
But
I'm not sure that's in their key success factors for the year.
But social media ammunition really the important.
But it's fine. It's look, we're part of it. It's the way of the world at the moment, and this is why success. How we determine success is always down to the individual. The club can determine success by their financial numbers, and basically, if they finish top four, they're making millions every year. They're in the Champions League. They're in the conversation. Whether they win something or not, it's irrelevant. It's a bit like I said before on this show. Like, it's the American football analogy. Getting to the playoffs is deemed a successful season in the NFL, in the NBA, and it's the number one thing. If you win it, great, but the primary thing is that. So if we finish top four, I'm sure that's what the owners want, and they'll deem that successful because the cash is coming in. We're in the Champions League next year, and so on. I think on the element of success or trophies and stuff, I think there is the fact of that at some point the project has to come to fruition.
That's all my point is. That's it.
Yeah. When that is, it's all about your patience levels, or you can see progress, or whatever. And everyone's, and this is what it comes down to: expectations. So success and expectations is different for everyone, and then it determines how you enjoy football. And so some will want this year it's win or bust. Others will see, okay, I can see progress. Yes, it's frustrating, but you know what? Grass isn't always greener. But at some point there has to be, I don't care, we have to change something because this isn't obviously working. And even if you have to take one step backwards to go 2 steps forward, so be it. I don't think we're at that yet, and I don't think we'll be there for a few years. But the individual, what would you consider success, and what your expectations are, and then that drives. And look, in terms of Twitter or X or whatever, people are just going to bait. People are going to do that, and it is what it is. Have a bit of fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. And you've got clowns there calling for Arteta's head after you lose a preseason friendly. Well, they're not serious. They're bad faith actors. They're disingenuous. They're just doing it for clicks.
I just see people with Arsenal shirts doing that and saying things like that, and it's just like, you might as well take the shirt off, mate. You might as well not wear the shirt.
Just let them.
Yeah,
if that's what they want to do, just let them. I know it gives us a bad name, but who are we to tell someone?
This is the other thing as well, right? So this is a bit of a myth, Khalid, right? Because 89 points can't be our peak. You know, if there are more teams competing for a title, your points total is going to go down because you're all taking points off each other, and not everybody's going to run perfect, and you don't need to run perfect to win a league.
Well, I mean, look at Liverpool last season.
Well, it's the same. It's the age-old saying, isn't it? I don't have to run faster than everyone else. I just have to run faster than you. Yeah. You're going to get eaten first. It's not on me. I don't have to worry about you. You have to worry about me.
And like City winning the title as Centurions a couple of seasons back, like it happened at a time where we were poor. Chelsea were in transition, United were in transition, Liverpool were their only main contender, which meant both City and Liverpool were slapping aside most of the league. That's why they got to 100 points. Like, they were good. Don't take away any credit from them. They were a sensational side, both of them, at that time. But that's why something like the Centurions happened as well. Do I expect any side, whether that's us or Liverpool or City or Chelsea, do I expect any of us to do that this coming season? Not a chance. There's just too many sides. The competition has gotten better. The more mid-table sides, we want to call them that, they, even they're getting better to the point that they're regularly taking points off some of the top teams. It's going to be extremely difficult to get anywhere near 100 points nowadays. Now that enough sides have gotten better, that we're getting proper title races again. 3-4 teams in the mix, except maybe Newcastle.
Yeah, I was going to do something else, but I mean, just before we do that, but because you just kind of got into it, do you think Newcastle are going to have a massive drop off this year?
They've still got time in the window,
but nobody wants to go there.
Yeah, true. No, that does make me laugh. It depresses me because it means Isaac might go, but it also makes me laugh because it's very funny given they got all the money. He's not going
to go if they can't get a replacement.
No, true. They got all the money in the world and can't do anything with it. I think the drop off will come because they're in Champions League, right? So having to contend with Champions League, not having a squad that's deep enough, and in the league, I don't think it'll be a massive drop off because it's always a gnarly place to go to, and so they'll always have a half decent home record. But it's how their Champions League draw and what fixtures they have post Champions League will determine their season really, for me. So
but they struggled a couple of seasons ago, didn't they? When they were in the Champions League.
Yeah. I mean, at least they've got that in the bag, but it'll be a bit like us when we first got back into the Champions League. It takes an emotional toll out of you. We then lose our next game, draw our next game 2-2 after our first Champions League game in 14 years with Tottenham. So it will take it out of them. So they will be good for a top 8, top 6 spot. They'll take points off us annoyingly, and others hopefully, and but yeah, they'll be like Villa, like were last year, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get that, but I just think with Champions League football and stuff, I think they're gonna. They're certainly not going to finish back in Champions League spot.
I don't know. I mean, I do think that the four sides we mentioned already, us, Liverpool, City, and Chelsea, I think those four have a pretty strong claim to being the top four again this season. That being said, was everybody expecting that Chelsea was going to finish top four last season? I wasn't sure they would, but results worked out well for them. That they
I think they stumbled their way into fourth. They didn't earn that fourth place. Everyone else,
wasn't it more
everyone
because
else went
people
down.
dropped off?
Yeah,
well, I just think that other teams, there's enough other teams that are in that mix that it could be anyone else as that other spot. You know, I think us, City, and Liverpool are quite strong. I would be surprised if one of the three of us dropped out of the top four spots. But, you know, there's Chelsea, Villa, Newcastle, maybe even Brighton. Forest had a strong push for 2/3 of last season. If they build from strength to strength, maybe they're in the mix again for a little while at least, if not all the way through the season. Like there are teams, and even I know people will laugh at times, but United have strengthened their attacking line.
I was leading up to that. I was going there.
They've got a full new front line now. Their front three is entirely new. Garnacho might be off to Chelsea, so they've got three new players now, United up front.
Do you think they're dark horses for fifth?
United?
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. I will be really shocked if United aren't at least in the top half this season. I expect them to be there.
I think they'll be in Europe no matter what.
Yeah. They've still got no midfield. Their defense is still sloppy. You know, they're still relying on Casemiro for crying out loud.
He looked
and also so Embremo.
If they got Baleba, then
they won't. Not for the price. He's another
80 105 million. They said.
Yeah, exactly. Brighton won't let him go. The thing is, they got in Embremo and Cunha. They've got the two highest XG over performers of last season. Will they get that again? Will they perform to the same level again? Embremo ain't getting 20 goals like he got last season for Brentford. I think it'll be maybe 10. Sesko is a massive gamble. That's overpriced for someone that is still uncertain. And Cunha, he'll blow hot and cold. He'll blow hot and cold. And again, another XG over performer last season. So it's a very typical Man United summer of signings, as in buying players overpriced because of maybe one good season. Look what they did with Xerxes. Look what they did with Højlund. Now, eventually, mud will stick. So I think maybe one of them may come off, but they're still reliant on that midfield, reliant on Bruno, the defense. They're reliant on Maguire, reliant on Onana. Yeah, so they'll be in the game more often than not, but yeah, they can't be as bad as last year. Top 10.
Do you think the methodology is easier than that? The logic behind it?
How do you mean?
Because you take targets from Newcastle. And you basically bring them down and pull their spot.
I think you've got to have a
Villa
plan.
Can't spend either.
You've got to have a plan in place there. Like
they have got a plan in place. Bring Newcastle down.
No, I mean
Villa down, and they take their place. That is the plan.
Stealing Newcastle signings is one thing, as long as you have an idea of how they fit into your team. Right.
I mean, I would argue that they actually fit in the team a lot more than the likes of Xerxes did. Casemiro has worked to a point, and albeit it was never going to have longevity, was it? Because of his age. But
I think their bigger problem is still they need a certain profile in midfield to help them control.
This is another thing. So you got Brentford, who were in or close to getting European spots. You've got Bournemouth that were close to getting European spots. You've got Brighton will sustain because they've not needed to sell anybody. But Brentford have needed to sell. Bournemouth have needed to sell. Villa won't strengthen because they've got no money. They've sold the women's teams to themselves because they needed to balance the books. Newcastle have no women's team to spend to sell to themselves for any kind of distinct money anyway. So those going out, is it between Spurs and United coming back up into the European spots?
Yeah, I mean Spurs. I'd expect Spurs. Yeah, I mean you can already see that a half decent manager who knows to line up a defense, what a difference that makes. So you know. So again, they'll be hard to beat. They're Brentford 2.0. They'll win some, they'll lose some. Yeah, they've got Champions League to contend with. Have they got the depth of squad? So again,
wait, back up.
Yeah.
So Spurs are Brentford 2.0.
Yeah, well, just purely because of what.
Frank.
Yeah, because Frank and just the way he's already set them up to be basically defensively solid, and play on the counter, which was very Brentford. But they've got potentially better or higher ceiling players, you know, and they got Paulinho, who's a very good.
Wasn't that how Emery was setting us up?
He got us to a European fun. Yeah. But what I'm saying, they'll get top 10 again. They'll be like Man United. They can't be any worse than last season. That's unfortunate, but they cannot be.
Respect on this. Spurs got.
Yeah.
So here's the thing for Spurs. Last season they lost 22 league games.
Yeah, they won't do that again.
The first thing Thomas Frank has come in and done, which we saw firsthand, is he's made sure they're more, like you said, Tubbs, defensively organized.
Yeah,
they've got a better.
He just bought a bigger bus. That's all he did.
No, but the difference being they have
took the wheels off it.
But they're not going to play on the halfway line and say, "Go on,
no,
run behind him."
But that's all Ange had to do in certain situations.
But did you notice the only
in Europe
way
he did?
Well, once he got serious, Ange, this is who I am, mate. No, he suddenly changed his way of playing to quite defensive and quite. So they won something because they actually decided to, because they got some half decent defenders. If Van der Ven's leg hamstring stays in one piece and the other guy doesn't get sent off, they have some okay players that put them together, they can win a tin pot trophy, you know. But they're not challengers of any sort. I don't think they might just get about 8th, and it will depend on, you know, how everything scans down in terms of winning the European trophies, like which the Premier League seem to be. So but that's it.
Where do you rank that trophy?
Which one?
The Europa. Where do you rank it in terms of, or
I don't,
of all the competitions that we were in? So they basically all the trophies available. Where do you rank it?
It rewards failure because you have to have failed in order to get into it.
Not do caveats. Just where do you rank it?
Oh, I know. Winning the championship. Winning the championship is actually harder than winning that trophy. If you look at the teams playing.
Yeah,
you're talking about Europa or Conference
structure of the Europa.
Even both of them. You know, winning the championship. They even did the things that, like in the stuff about Goicoechea, and they were saying, well, how do you compare the Portuguese league to the English? And they said it was Portuguese, bottom half of Portuguese is like League One. Okay, so if you take that across all the other nations that are taking part in these competitions, it's I would say what Leeds did was much harder than what Tottenham did. Yeah, in terms of what they had to do, who they had to be, the effort involved. So it's you look, they paid a carrier bag, I don't know, a law firm, was it Bodo Glimt in it. So like they had, who did they play? And these teams would be League One. In the English pyramid, not at.
Khalid is agreeing with you.
Yeah. So it's just it's.
Where do you put it, Everin?
Would you guys consider? Well, I don't know. I mean, the Premier League, the Champions League are obviously the upper echelon.
Yeah.
Then I don't know whether you'd rank any of our domestic cups along the list. I would say the Europa League is probably. I mean, it's tougher than the Carabao Cup for sure because everybody plays their youngsters in the Carabao. Maybe it's around the FA Cup level. but like Tab said, maybe it's even a little lower than that. Like the championship.
I
is
put
top.
the FA Cup above it, and then I
Above.
put it in between the FA Cup and the League Cup.
I mean, however it's ranked, I think Spurs will have gotten a lot of confidence out of it at least, and now they have a manager that knows how to adapt and play, at least get the basic strength in place. And it's not like they've got no good players there. They have excellent players. Now they have been hit by injury, obviously, with James Madison now having that ACL.
Do you think he'll come back?
Sorry?
Do you think Madison will actually come back? Isn't he 31 now?
I'm not sure how old he is, but I think it does take time to come back from an ACL injury to
9 months.
your pre-injury levels. Like I don't expect.
Yeah, if you're 25, it takes a short period of time. If you're 30 and you're 30,
I expect
he's out for the season. He could be there next season because for an ACL for a Premier League football, it's 9 months.
Well, obviously it depends what grade it is, doesn't it?
Rodri got back sooner. He got his injury against us in September and played again in April, so it's feasible. Okay. Yeah, he could be back by March for Spurs. Okay. But in general, I think the loss of Madison is a big one. It depends right now. Do they sign somebody to fill that?
Yeah, they're going after Elliott, aren't they?
Sorry,
they're going after Harvey Elliott.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about the Elliott one. I had heard little things about them also being interested in Eze. I think if we're serious about getting Eze, we should be the ones that kind of sign him if it's a battle between us and Spurs. But regardless, for dark horses for this season, any chance that Everton might surprise a few people? They've been making some solid signings.
Who have they signed?
They're apparently right now in talks of signing Grealish on loan for the season.
But
yeah.
Okay.
Everton or Everton, they'll always be Everton.
Well, I'm comparing it to a season or two ago. You remember when they got hit by the points deduction and they had to fight their way out of that? The form that they went on after that points deduction, if they hadn't been hit by those loss of points, they would have finished top half that season.
Yeah, top half.
But top half is
that's what I mean. Will they surprise a few people and get in the top half again after a couple of seasons of fighting relegation?
I could see it. New stadium, new at home, new signings.
I mean, let's be real. A team like Everton shouldn't be fighting relegation, should they?
No,
the money that they spend,
the
stadium they have, they should not. They should not be fighting relegation by any stretch of the imagination. Carlito's is top half finish, but I expect a top half finish for the likes of Everton. I don't necessarily expect it with the likes of Brighton over the periods. Now I expect it because obviously they've done good business and they recruit really well, they sell really high, and they do the model that Chelsea have basically set up to do. But I expect Everton to do that.
It'll be teams like Brentford and Bournemouth who maybe overachieved a bit last season or were higher than expected.
But this is why I'm saying that obviously
and they've lost some key personnel.
I was going to say, that is big for Bournemouth and Brentford, is that they've both been picked apart this summer. Can they still find enough rhythm and use the personnel they do have now to compete at the level they have been doing for the last couple of seasons? It'll be really impressive if they still keep up those levels, but I think maybe they'll have a slightly tougher time this season than they have the last couple of them. Who do you think are the three main candidates to go down, or do you think it's just going to be the?
I was literally going there as well. Yeah, so you read my mind.
Do you think it's just going to be the three promoted sides back down, or is one or two of them going to maybe cause a surprise?
West Ham, they haven't really bought anyone. They struggle.
They do look
the atmosphere around there is not great. They could be touch and go.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds survive, and I would love to see Sunderland stay up. I have to say, I would love it. With
they've made so many signings.
They've got Xhaka now. I'd like to see him stay up with them in the Premier League. That'd be fun.
So we have a new song for Xhaka, right? They've got Xhaka.
And it'll be interesting to see if he's refereed the same way, or are we just going to say, Oh, if that had been Xhaka when he played for Arsenal, this would have happened. But yeah, let's see.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad he ended on a good note with us because I think he'll get a good reception when we host Sunderland.
I think
Our fans will be thrilled to see him back.
Yeah, not if he scores, but
I don't even think we'll mind that. Honestly,
yeah.
Xhaka's
That's the problem. We're too nice, aren't we, when it gets to things like
well,
that?
it's like all those years ago when Eduardo scored for Shakhtar against us in the Champions League. Like we loved him, and it wasn't his fault that he dropped a level after that injury. So we were kind of happy. We were 5-0 up at the time anyway when he scored. So I think depending on the situation, we might not mind if Xhaka scores against us.
Well, I don't know. Yesterday, Pepe got booed. I don't know why. Pepe didn't do anything wrong.
I never understood that.
And even Denis Suarez got booed. It's not their fault.
I think he was overheated anyway. Was Pepe? He didn't really do anything.
He should have celebrated.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
He should have celebrated.
Non-celebration. It's a friendly for cry out loud.
Yeah, I mean the amount of rolling around that Villarreal were doing in a friendly kind of wound me up a little bit, but other than that, it was a bit weird. But
they're in training for next season as well, so yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think Brentford are targets for the drop. To be honest, they've lost a lot of players.
Have you seen? You should watch this. It was on YouTube. They gave kind of like an inside access into Brentford's preseason training because I think Keith Andrews is in charge of them now, right? Yeah. And they gave like a 8 or 9 minute video of him running the sessions with them. It looks great. Like he's got them in good shape. He's got them, in good morale, good spirits.
Doesn't mean they can play, lads.
No, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee of it. But I would like them to stay up. I think they've been a good addition to the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree. They've been a good addition.
Like
to this thing,
they seem to regenerate quite well up front. I mean, if you think about all the way back to even Mopé, then Watkins, then Tony, then Mbeumo and Wissa, they seem to, and now they got another decent centre forward, and Sade was looking. Sade? Yeah, whatever, was looking good, and also they got Damsgaard in midfield. They're always going to be solid defensively. They've got Kelleher as their goalkeeper now as well. So
he's a good.
Yeah. It's just it's that depth. So if they can keep fitness, is that they've lost Norgard obviously. I'm a member of Brentford. They're sort of like my local team as a kid, and I go and see them if I'm not going to the Arsenal or whatever. So I know I've got a soft spot for them, and got mates who are season ticket holders. So I think it'll be a harder season, but I expect them to stay up. I think they'll have enough to stay up, and I think they've made some sort of like canny signing. They always make some canny signings, and they'll have someone there, and they just regenerate and keep going.
I don't know which one, but I think one of the 3 promoted sides is probably going to go back down. It's hard to predict.
Burnley hands down.
And Sunderland.
I think Sunderland probably as well, and I think that the other one's kind of up for grabs between.
Well, there's West Ham, Brentford,
West Ham, Wolves, Brentford.
Are all in the run.
Obviously
okay,
Leeds. Right? You have to include Leeds in there just because they've just come up, but I think they'll survive it. I don't know if they'll survive it by a lot. Right? Yeah,
Palace, they should be okay.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Depends what happens with Eze, but yeah,
I think they'll have planned for it. If it is looking as likely, I mean, we obviously don't know the whole story right now, but maybe links with Eze are further along than what we know. But if the Eze transfer is happening, that's a lot of money going to Palace. Surely they will have planned for 1 or 2 incomings to make up for that.
I hope so, because otherw's you won't sell.
Well, yeah, I mean,
let's hope they've done their due diligence.
A lot of the time, it's just like, well, yeah, we're going to sell him, and they do it on the basis of when they get the replacement. So if they don't get the replacement, they don't sell him, do they? But and I think that's literally all it's waiting for at Newcastle for Isak as well. It's just yeah. If we can get the replacement, then we sell him, and if we don't, then we have to bite the bullet.
Was it? Are they looking at Wissa and
Jackson?
Well, Wissa was linked to
to Newcastle.
No, Al Hilal or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's now been linked to there, which is ironic because it's another PIF club, and they could get gazumped by their own company. which is
They'll just,
it's quite
they'll just
amusing.
sign
Really.
him, and then they'll sign him and sell him to Newcastle.
Well, this was the thing,
then
wasn't it?
Jackson.
That people were saying that they'd that Saudi would buy Isaac and then literally just make his way all the way back in stages, and you kind of wonder if that's what's happening with that John Duran, because he was kind of in that kind of situation as well. But yeah, that seems to be taking too long for it to be that kind of dodgy circumstance.
Do you guys think Isaac is likely to stay at Newcastle this summer, or is he going to end up at Liverpool by the end of August?
If he does move, I just hope it's too late for when we play Liverpool.
Well, they're game 3, right?
And then obviously, and so if he signs for Liverpool on transfer deadline day, he won't play against us, and that means he also doesn't play for Newcastle against us. So if he goes, I hope he goes as late as possible, so he doesn't play for Newcastle or Liverpool. I think it's 50-50 because he's back with them training. It's happened before. If they can't find a replacement. But also, even if they find a replacement, they need
two, don't they?
League, they need depth. They need depth there. I'm just hoping it's when it happens late.
I wouldn't be surprised if he stays and they get him to sign a new contract with a release clause, and then next summer he's off.
Apparently, he's only on like 100k a year, so he's like going
120
a week. Sorry, not a year. But because he's made, well, if you're going to put my price tag at 150 million, pay me like I'm a 150 million pound player, for Christ's sake. So you can't have it both ways. So maybe
I think they've offered him that this year, haven't they?
Okay. Yeah. So
I think that's kind of what they offered him, and he turned it down because he only wants to go to Liverpool, and he was like, I'm not getting myself stuck here. And yeah, they he'll only do it with a release clause in the contract, and it's basically got to be, watertight, because obviously we've had the Gyökeres incident and the Sesko incident.
Yeah, no more verbal gentlemen's agreements.
Yeah, we don't need any of that in our lives. So, but they're supposed to be making it so that players can buy themselves out of the contract whenever they feel like it as well. So, I can't see how that'll ever work, to be honest.
Payday loan. I don't know. they get a loan. They get a loan from the club that wants to buy them, and I'm sure.
So,
it's not exactly a fiver though, is it? It's like 50 million quid.
Yesterday in our squad, did you notice that we had no Nelson in there? Do you think that's linked to a transfer in the works?
I think there's only so many players you can have the bench. Sorry, go on.
Well, I mean, like we had no Trossard. We assume that's for injury. Havertz, slight knock. You would think Nelson would then make the squad when you have those two out. And we had no Calafiori either.
No.
Like, there's enough room in that squad for Nelson if Arteta wanted to put him in. Do you think it's injury-based, or is it that... Because we know there's transfer links to Fulham, and then there were reports a week or two ago about us trying to include him in a deal for Eze. Do you think it's one of those happening, or is it just injury?
I didn't hear anything about injury. I think just maybe saving his legs for Fulham.
No, he did. Yeah. He did have a kick, didn't he? But I don't think it was anything major. I think it was just nothing to keep you out of a game.
But he didn't play yesterday at all.
Yeah, right? The only reporting I saw was about Havertz had a tweak, had a bit of a niggle, so didn't risk him. Calafiori we know about, should be maybe okay for Saturday. Trossard we know about, maybe okay for Saturday. In all the reports I read, I heard nothing about Nelson. So, and there was some youngster on the bench. So yeah, I'm assuming just sort of like, the usual. I don't want to get injured prior to leaving.
To transfer, maybe.
Whether they transfer another loan with obligate, who knows? But then I saw Fulham were linked with maybe a winger today. So don't know. Who knows? Who knows? We need to see what happens. But there's not long left. I mean, we've got 3 weeks basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks after the start of the season, isn't it?
Because the 1st of September, right? That's that's the last day.
Yeah.
And I mean, the football kicks off next weekend, so we don't. After that, people aren't going to pay too much attention to transfers anyway.
Yeah. Well, they will.
Well, I mean,
Where do
once the
you
football
think we are?
starts.
Do you think we're done? Do you think we get
No,
Eze?
no,
Eze's-
I think we've got at least a couple of outgoings to handle.
Yeah, but before
And
we kind of know what the.
I feel like we're working on Eze, and then all those new reports that have broken out over the last 24 hours of us being interested in a loan signing of Rodrigo, which I think is sensible. One thing that I haven't seen anyone mention, and I think the club is doing this intentionally, is did you notice that the players they are trying to sign for those winger positions are ones who already play in that same role and they're from the same nationality as our current players. So for Saka, we signed Madueke. It makes sense. If we manage both their minutes, obviously they won't both play all the time for England either, which means we'll always have at least one of them in good shape to play right after international breaks. For Martinelli, he plays for Brazil. So does Rodrigo. And because Vinicius Jr. is guaranteed to play on the left-hand side for Brazil, where he usually does, that means Martinelli and Rodrigo are not going to both be playing every minute for Brazil either. So
I'm going to slightly debunk that, though, because we've been linked with Lookman today.
We have, but I think he prefers to go to Inter.
Has he not moved to Inter yet?
No,
wants to go
it's on
ages.
hold. No, there's something.
He's 20. He's 28. I don't think we'll get him. He's too old.
Yeah.
I think he's an alternative in case we don't get Eze. But I think Eze will end up happening.
The thing is, we have to. If you just think logically about it, we can only have 25-man squad. And how many? And what's the bench size? 7 on a match day.
It's 9 now because we can make 5 subs. Yeah.
Is it? So it's 9 on a match day.
Yeah, 9 on a match day. 5 subs,
So you got Kepa, Havertz or Gyökeres. Who else? Yeah, Timber, Kiel, Norgard. So that's 5. Marino 7, Trossard 8,
2 centre backs.
Winery 9. So all of a sudden that's 9.
If Trossard goes.
No, but this is what I say. We have to sell before we buy, because otherwise you're going to be having potential first teamers not even getting in the match day squad, not even getting on the bench. Yeah, and so if the maths doesn't math, as they say. So you either piss some people off, or we need to make space.
But the answer, the argument to that though is if you've got 2 players in every position, you're always going to have a first team player on the bench, not on the bench.
But you want that. You want that because that raises the levels for competition.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you're okay. But you never really have 2 for every position as such. But that's 20 players. So and normally
we kind of have, haven't we?
But normally there's 5 players that on the fringes. That's fine. They're a bit young and all the rest.
Yeah,
of it.
for sure.
I'm just saying it's a consideration because Okay, no, but also the question: who do you bench? Who does Marino suddenly not even get match day squad, or Winery?
I think there will be.
And I didn't even mention Calafiori's name. So this isn't ignoring it, but I didn't even say Calafiori. So all of a sudden, you get in the likes of potentially Marino, Winery, and then you've got to factor in Dalman. And all of a sudden,
so if we manage to get, if we manage to sell Zinchenko, Vieira, Nelson, and who was the 4? And Trossard.
Yeah.
If we get those 4 out, and we bring in Eze and say someone like a Rodrigo on loan, that's a very healthy squad.
I'm not denying it's a healthy squad.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there are going to be some players that have got credentials to be first teamers to play, or that would not even make the match day squad.
Then
you could argue as well.
That's a situation that needs to be managed. I'm not saying it's a bad situation. And hey,
it's a good problem to have.
Yeah. But you could argue that we already have that situation with Kivior and Calafiori and or Timber and now Mascara.
But I'm just saying, I know, but you're compounding it by getting another 2. If you say 2, so that's why I say I think we need to make some. I think it's 1 in, 1 out in terms of Trossard out. I don't think we get Rodrigo and Eze. It's either one or the other.
Even if Rodrigo's on loan,
I've often
even if Rodrigo, it doesn't matter. It's still one player. But I think if we are to get someone on the left side, be it Eze or be it Rodrigo, we have to get rid of.
Which would you prefer?
Which one, Eze or Rodrigo?
Yeah.
Eze. Yeah, I'll go Eze.
I think I would prefer Eze as well.
Why?
Premiership proven, and I think he adds something that we don't have in terms of creativity. I think he can cover Odegaard better than Wineri covers Odegaard, because I think Wineri and Odegaard are very different players for different game states. And yeah, I think Rodrigo is a bit of an unknown entity, whereas I think Eze is a bit more of a sure thing. And given what we want, I think Rodrigo sounds exciting. Is the exotic player and all the rest of it. Real Madrid.
It's more the Real Madrid status.
Exactly. But I think what Eze potentially brings, I'm then Rodrigo. But I think
how old is Eze?
27,
28, yeah, 27. Yeah.
Okay.
But that makes sense, because Gyökeres is 27. It's very clear that we kind of want signings that will get us, we're here now at that stage. Like we talked about earlier, we're at the stage where we probably, the squad, the club, want to see tangible success, actual trophies won. The best way now is that we're not getting project signings in. We're getting signings that can come in and deliver now.
That's why I'd go for Rodrigo.
That's what Zubimendi's in for. He's 26, right? Gyökeres 27. If we bring in Eze, 27. Those are proven players. And let's not forget, Eze knows what success is. He just won the FA Cup. He's done that too.
So does Rice, mate, but he didn't win anything.
So why Rodrigo then, Sparks?
Because I think it's an inferior position that we have. I think it needs radical improvement, and I think if that's radically improved, it facilitates the whole balance of the team. So instead of that whole right-hand side triangle, I don't think that happens anymore, because the spray of what I said before with Zubimendi, and he can do that floated ball from left to right to left, whatever he wants to do with it. It adds another option, because I'd be perfectly fine with seeing that floated ball go to his feet, and I'd have confidence that he's going to control it, and he can run to the touchline, or he can run direct to goal. He can run to the edge of the box. He can give it a shot. He can give it a pass. He can give it whatever. And I'm not saying that Eze wouldn't offer that at all, but I think Eze offers more difficulty getting him into the first 11 in the first place, where Rodrigo is basically nailed on, more or less, albeit he's got to come from a different league, but he'll have a point to prove, especially if he's alone as well. He'll have that this is my position, I'll take it, and I'm going to make it mine. And Xavi, this is what you're missing.
Slight
the reason.
Sorry, Taz. Slight. I don't know whether it's a devil's advocate kind of argument for this, but given that we talked about Zubimendi's ability to spray the passes and Gyökeres arriving, Eze arriving, maybe Madueke, all of these players kind of giving us the ability to transition well, would you say Rodrigo is absolutely essential then on that left wing, or could Martinelli still benefit, given that that's where he had his most successful season when we were more transition based? Could he still do the job as the starting left winger?
I'm not saying he couldn't, and that's why I want him on the bench,
right?
Because
he'll be a good player. Rodrigo's an upgrade on
Martinelli, and you increase, so you raise the ceiling by putting a better left winger on there. Martinelli not only now has something to vie for, he's not a shoe-in. He has to work to get the spot. And all right, yeah, he'll probably be a shoe-in for the sub. But it's either sub or nothing, or you book your ideas up and make yourself the first pick, in which case I'm happy for you to bench Rodrigo. And then I've got Rodrigo coming off the bench.
I just think it's less likely, just because also we've got Madueke, who can play both sides, and so he can potentially be that left side impact player, or be the one that is that differential compared to sort of Martinelli. I'm not saying he's as good as Rodrigo, can't tell. But it would be very strange to have Martinelli and Rodrigo and Madueke. Whereas I think Eze just provides that something different on the left-hand side. And and that's where he'd be a Trossard replacement, because Trossard is not just a traditional winger. So therefore Eze can come in for
Trossard's very similar to Eze,
and offer
actually,
a bit of extra creative.
the way he plays.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. So you can swap them out. So exactly. So Trossard's not a traditional left winger. Eze's not a traditional left winger, but you can still put him out there. Creates a bit of creativity, and actually just something. Yesterday, which you did see, is which was a good thing between Gyökeres and Martinelli. There was that one moment where Gyökeres went out left and Martinelli cut inside, and I think we created a half decent chance from it. Again, you see it once, hopefully you see more of that, because Gyökeres has, when he was playing for Porto, he would be very much left-hand channel, creating space and then drive in from there. So again, potentially you have that option as well. So I just think, if our big issue is the creation of chances, it's not getting the ball, it's not transitioning, it's not getting into the final third. It's once we're there, we need to create something, and I think Eze maybe brings us more of that creativity, that's something different than maybe
you don't think that we don't get there quick
can't.
enough, and that's why we're not necessarily that clinical with it, because obviously we faff around with it so much that it gives teams that are low blocks chance to get their 8 players back in the box, and then you've got to build up through everybody else again, rather than the flow of the transition.
That's tactics as opposed to personnel,
And
I would suggest, because that's tactics. The issue we have with Martinelli, he doesn't take on his man and go past and gets to the byline, cross it after. He cuts inside. So again, I agree. We do need to get forward quicker, and I think Zubimendi will allow us, because Odegaard will be further forward, and everyone.
That's my point, because obviously Partey at the base was basically fumble the ball, and basically you'd make a good pass in the end, but he's got to make 3 or 4 touches to get the pass off in the first place, and run halfway across the pitch. Zubimendi won't do that.
No, he'll be quicker.
He'll be much quicker, and he's fleet-footed.
So he'll be the difference maker in terms of getting the ball up the pitch quicker, not Rodrigo or Martinelli. So I think that's a tactical thing. And I said you put Madueke on the left. He said that's what I want to take on my man. I want to that's what I'm going to do. I want to see the man, get past him. So that's why I'd suggest Eze would be potentially a bit more of a game changer for us than Rodrigo.
I think the argument could be made for either Rodrigo or Eze. The slight difference that I kind of see is both of them are dynamic players. They're quick. They're good kind of bulk dribblers, and they'll take on their man and all. The slight problem that I don't even know if it's a problem, but I think this challenge that we face a little bit is Rodrigo, if he's the one that we bring in, he's still wide, which means if the opposition team is one that sits back or forces us to play in this horseshoe kind of formation around them, does Rodrigo solve that? Whereas Eze, because he's that dynamic, chaotic kind of player, but he plays more central by nature, is he more likely to cause problems for the other team? Because we play the ball to him in the middle, and now we're not playing a horseshoe around them. We have this chaotic player going through them, right through the middle.
But isn't that why we got Gyökeres?
No, Gyökeres is in the forward line. Eze does this in midfield.
Yeah, but you can only go as far forward as the offside line permits.
Yes, but he plays well through compact lines as well in the middle, Eze. And he'd be, I think, and again, I would be on board with either one if the club were to bring them in, but my preference, I think I'd lean towards Eze only because I don't think, I saw a bit of it in preseason, like we've talked about, Sparks, that Odegaard is staying a little further up and asking to receive the ball through the lines rather than in front of the low block. I think
that's the other thing you wouldn't really pick out from yesterday, because you didn't really see enough of it, because obviously it wasn't on long enough. But obviously, with Zubimendi doing what he does, then, as you say, Odegaard doesn't have to come so far back to come to receive the ball, and he's not trying to pass the ball to himself, if that makes sense. He's trying to come back and pass the ball to a creative player, but he can't find a creative player because he's it.
Yeah.
So,
but now if you have two of them,
but I agree with you from that point of view. If you've got an Eze there, or Rice is played in that permitted zone to do that, then that works a lot better. But the thing is, you just don't want to be bringing the creative players too far back, and I think that's part of the problem.
I think also Eze would be a better analog to Odegaard than Waneri. Waneri's a 10, I would suggest, whereas Odegaard's an 8. And so when they play, there's very different styles. Also defensively, I think Eze would be a better support from that perspective. I think Waneri still lacks in that position, doesn't offer us that defensive stability the likes of Odegaard does. So I think he sort of ticks a couple of boxes more than, say, Rodrigo. Look, as I said, I wouldn't turn them down. I wouldn't say no, and either one will make us better. Yeah. But as I said, the question was, if I had to choose between the two, then for me.
I guess I kind of got it's not only the player, it's what they stand for, if you know. So it's like the amount of time between getting a proper marquee signing, you know, without it being an Mbappe or that ilk of player. It'd just be nice to lay a bit of a marker that we can attract that kind of player, rather than just.
You wouldn't say Gyökeres falls in that category?
Yes, I would, but there's more onus on him to prove himself in the Premier League right now than him coming for the Arsenal badge.
Mm-hmm.
Is Rodrigo a marquee player? Okay, just a bit over Eze.
Yes,
I mean, just because he plays for
With
Real
Eze,
Madrid.
Danny
Ceballos.
Ceballos.
Danny Ceballos played for Real Madrid.
With Eze,
He's not marquee.
With Eze, there's the personal link as well, that he was at us.
Yeah, but he was already here. He loves Arsenal. I think he's an Arsenal fan anyway, and it's kind of, you know, it's a bit of a pipe dream for him, isn't it, to come back as an adult, and when he was released. And he was released by 3. The thing, he nearly quit football, for God's sake, and it's a proving ground and proving factor for himself as well. Yeah. So he's already got the earmarks in there. I mean, could you argue that Zubimendi was that guy? Possibly.
Yeah.
Because, you know, obviously other teams were after him, albeit not at the same time. So you could probably argue that. I guess it's the perception from the other side that they wouldn't necessarily accept that. Whereas if it was a Rodrigo, for example, that would almost universally be accepted as a marquee signing, if you know what I mean. That's just
I would say so. I think back to when we played Real Madrid, and I didn't remember Rodrigo having any major standout.
Oh no, he was locked down.
Yeah,
he was locked down for sure.
I worry about what would happen if
there's.
But
you're not telling me there's not been games where Eze hasn't been locked down.
No. I just think, like Tab said, that the fact that he's Premier League proven and has lit up the league at a squad or at
I don't disagree with the logic. Yeah. I get the logic. I completely see where you're coming from.
Yeah. I get that Rodrigo would be a good marquee signing as well.
It's a marquee, and it's an instant upgrade on not the squad, the position.
That position. Yeah.
It's just like, right, okay, you're out, you're in, instant upgrade.
Yeah.
And it's also because you've got that marquee in that kind of situation, it's a fear factor for teams coming up against them. It's a fear factor instantly. So you got Saka coming down the right and him coming down the left, Gyökeres coming down the middle. You've automatically got they had Saka last season, and now look what they got. So it's kind of a bit of that, really, because, you know, nobody's getting scared of Martinelli. albeit he can be effective in moments. You know, you see
Right,
Martinelli on the team sheet. The teams aren't scared of him, are they?
No, the easy way to solve this is we just get them both, so we're all happy. There we go.
I'd love to get them both.
That's what I'm
Absolutely love to
saying.
get them both.
Is it-
Absolutely in a heartbeat.
That's where all this stemmed from. Is that if we make the required sales, is it feasible to think we could bring in Eze on a permanent deal and Rodrigo on loan?
Oh, well, it shouldn't be, should it? For
Sorry.
a club like Arsenal, it shouldn't be, should it?
No, I mean, like, is that it obviously depends, like we said, on sales. Like, we have to offload Zinchenko,
But
Vieira,
why do
and-
we care about that, right? That's not our problem, right?
No, it's not. I'm just
Our-
saying that
our
I don't
problem-
think
our
I don't think
problem
we see
is-
the
And
income.
it's kind of where we go from to start off, where we started off with the actual show, and
Yeah.
it's kind of about the ambition of the club and where it wants to go, and you would think and maybe hope that with the Club World Cup coming in, and it, you know, as much as we don't necessarily agree with the competition and whatever, whether we think it's plastic or whatever, it's probably here to stay because it's all about money. It's funded by the PIF, so it's definitely not going to go because they're into everything
Speaking
now.
of it, did you see the news from Chelsea that Levi Colwell's got an ACL?
I saw that Colwell's got an ACL as well. Yeah, I mean,
I think that's just going to happen more and more with these extra competitions being added.
what did he even play in the Club World Cup?
Oh yeah, he played for them,
Okay.
but he hasn't had
But-
much
but-
of an off season, just like most of.
But
their
I mean,
Chelsea-
all right. But there's two injuries like that. But you know, Madison didn't play in it, so you can't really.
no, I just
you
think
know,
that this is
use
going to
that as
happen more.
such. But yeah, he's going to have more and more. We had 7 operations last season,
Yeah,
and apparently we can't blame injuries for anything. But you know, which is nonsense, really. But to a point, I blame injuries, and I blame that the squad wasn't big enough to actually compete with everything. So you know, with you can blame one thing and add another that kind of goes with it. So I blame the club and I blame whatever, but it's kind of whether the club has the ambition to go winning trophies, or whether it just wants to be a top 4 side competing, you know, and we don't get to decide that, unfortunately, do we?
No.
So yeah, and it's there's no point in sitting here and this is what gets me about people that's like, oh yeah, this manager, and oh yeah, he's bloody useless, Arteta out, and all this like, and you're like, you're just depressing yourself for nothing, because they're not going to change it just because you say to change it.
no.
I've seen a Man United fan, actually. You probably know which one it is, but he was on about Belieber, and he said, "Yeah, because all us online were basically screaming out for somebody like Belieber, that they've gone
That's
for
why
him."
they've gone for him.
And I just like sent a laughing face emoji, just like, no, mate, no.
That's not how it works.
It's because the club needs to reinvent itself, because it can't afford to be outside the European spots for any period of time. Because those sackings that they had to do at Man United before, if they don't get back in Europe, there's a hell of a lot more coming. So,
And just wait for them to say that Sesko turned us down to join Man United as well. So,
Of course they're going to say that.
I mean, certain ones, Tesco and all that lot, and it's like, yeah. But now he's on a YouTube, basically giving it, oh yeah, well, he come to us, and yeah, it's the best thing since sliced bread and this, that, and the other. You're like, hang on a minute, he was Tesco's, wasn't he? Yeah, we wanted Gyökeres.
What
There we go.
what do you imagine is going to be the 11 we start with on Saturday? If you were the manager, what would you pick as the starting 11?
Well, you got to go Saliba, and probably not Gabriel, because he's only played one game, so it'd probably be Saliba and either Mosquera or Kivior, probably Kivior actually. MLS, White, because Timber has he's been out as well, so I'll probably start with White.
Yeah.
Zubimendi, Rice, although he's a little bit fatigued as well, so that might be Marino. But I would start with Rice if he's fit. I don't know if he is. Obviously, Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka, Gyökeres. Again, if Gyökeres is fit, but I don't think it even matters if he's fit. He's got to start, really.
Why? Over Havertz?
Well, Havertz was out anyway, wasn't he? He was
But
injured.
that was a matter
Yeah,
of
but
a
it was more just as a precaution as opposed to.
Oh right, so it was just like
Saturday
a niggle.
Yeah, just to see something in training, so there's no point risking it. So
okay, so maybe Havertz, and he's on for the first half, and Gyökeres is on.
Gyökeres for the second. Yeah, that's what I was kind of leaning towards. The rest of the lineup, I kind of agree with.
Yeah,
with what you've said. Although if Gabriel is fit enough, I would kind of like to see him and Saliba play together for a half, and then maybe get Mosquera on for Gabriel for the second.
I think that's going to be the same as last season because Gabriel was out for the first couple of weeks last season, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just thinking
season before.
I'm
pretty sure it was last season.
No, season before with the old Saudi links.
Oh, that was the Saudi head turning, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it wasn't last season; it was the season before. I think.
I'm just wondering.
Because that's when he did the press conference, wasn't it? When he said he either commits or he don't get played.
Yeah, I think with United away being the first game, we need to get Gabriel and Saliba playing together a bit at least for this match. If we're hoping
very unfit yesterday, he looked very.
Did he? I thought he looked all right.
Gabriel, Danjuma walked past him to score that goal.
Was Gabriel on when Danjuma scored?
Yeah.
He did a half turn.
Yeah, he sort of went to play offside and then realised, oh shit, he's onside, and then turned around like the Kiri2 and then jogged back, and Danjuma had scored before he'd even gone into the centre.
Mosquera's speed looked good though. He almost caught up to him.
Yeah, I think he looks fine. He's well respected in Spain, I think.
Yeah,
under 21 style.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be opposed to that starting 11. I think it's probably a good idea to have Havertz start the first half, especially because he missed yesterday's game, just to get him playing and get those minutes again, and then Gyökeres for the second, and keep him on with Odegaard and Saka. See if they start making those combinations.
Yeah, I expect substitutions about 70 minutes or whatever, but not on wholesale either.
No, not wholesale. No, I think it'll be more like a season match. Yeah, like
a proper game. So it'd be like 65 minutes, 70 minutes.
Yeah,
we'll be looking at some kind of replacements, but
and you guys reckon we win?
I mean, I would hope so. With the first 11, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Well, the first 11 minus Gabriel.
Yeah. Tabs, any changes to the lineup, or what are you thinking?
No, it sounds about right. As I said, he'll be looking at Man United. He may not play the full first 11 that he's looking to play at Man United, but it'll at least be 8 or 9 of them. So
I think probably 8 of the 11 I would expect at least to be the first choice.
Well, I'd expect Timber to come in for White on the first game. And then
that's always an interesting one that I hear people discussing. I never hear a clear answer. I think White combines better with Odegaard and Saka on the right, but Timber is probably a better one-on-one defender.
He's a better defender. White gets a bit exposed with balls over the top. So again, it depends what sort of game you're going to be playing against Man United. Man United are now built to play in the counter, 3 at the back with wing backs and things like that. So it's yes, you could exploit. We could either push them back and they play 5 at the back, or we can exploit the space behind them.
And the question then is, who's better suited to it? Because White, I have to say, I think he's had an excellent preseason. Ben White's looked good for pretty much all of preseason. Like, you could count on one hand the number of iffy moments that he might have had. He's generally been very solid, and we've played good opposition for the majority of it. Timber, having just come back from the slight knock and not quite being there, do you risk him starting at Man United, or does White get the nod there?
I think you have to play your fittest 11. We need to get off to a good start. You don't want to gamble with fitness of players and stuff like that. So you just
We need to get points on the board early.
Yeah,
because we have a tough
Definitely
exactly.
not after last year, anyway. So it's,
Yeah, so
well, last season we started strong. Those
Yeah.
first 5 games were tough last year too, and we did really well. It's only after all those injuries hit us after the first international break that things started to go south.
So
yeah.
in your schedule, transfer I like it.
Oh dear. Yeah, but Twitter tells them that their targets, you see, and
Khalid says that he would start Madueke on the left wing instead of Martinelli.
I wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, just to see that because again this is why it's maybe 8 out of the 11 because you know what you get with certain players. So
yeah, Madueke needs minutes for sharpness
and then maybe Gyökeres does start because you want to see how he plays with Rice. I want to see how he plays with Rice, Odegaard, and Zubimendi. We know roughly how Havertz will play. So maybe and then we'll see. And he needs minutes into his legs. Like at least Havertz has pretty much been there all pre-season. He's a unit, and I think it'd be fine. But
he's really bulked up this last couple of months, hasn't he?
Yeah, he needs the minutes. So it may be that you bring in a Madueke and you bring in.
I would get Trossard minutes too if he's fit. Arteta suggested he would be okay for this weekend.
Who was that?
Trossard. It depends if he's a starter against Man United. If not, then just bench option. As I said, you can't give everyone 90 minutes. You can't give everyone 70 minutes. So you think how he's going to play the first few games, and he's fine. Well, and also maybe he's on his way, and maybe he doesn't want to risk a move. Risk a move either. So then, So there's
I think if he's close to a move, then maybe he won't be played.
No,
Trossard. Same goes for Nelson. I think we don't see either of them if they're very close to moves.
No, we're not going to see Nelson, I don't think.
But, well, that remains to be seen at this point.
And I think Dauman, you touched on it earlier about Dauman. He I think you said at the beginning he hasn't had a break because I think he's had international tournament. I think he's on holiday, so whether I think he's out for a week, so I think he'll be available for Man United, but I don't think he's available for the Bilbao game, or he takes the holiday after Bilbao. But I know Arteta said he needs a week off at least. So
would you include Dauman in the squad? Sorry. Would you guys include Dauman in the squad for United?
The matchday squad.
Yeah.
Depends who else was fit.
Let's say that everybody who's supposed to be fit is, so basically just Jesus out.
You can't put him on the bench ahead of Madueke or Trossard unless Trossard is going. But even then, Trossard might not have made a bench. If you can't put him ahead of Madueke, it doesn't matter how good Dauman has been. You just that's not how it works. Even.
If anything, maybe consider him for the home game against Leeds the second week.
But even then,
we need to put points on the board. Yeah. I think you've got to basically take into account of what options you have, and if you don't have fit options, then you put them on the bench as experience to be on the bench rather than a pick. And then if you're in a position where you're 3-4-0 up, then you give them a run out.
Because your attacking options on the bench would be Trossard, 2 of Trossard, Martinelli, Madueke, 1 of Gyökeres and Havertz. Okay, so those would be your sort of maybe 2 attacking, and maybe you have 3. You have 3 out of those 2 on the bench. So maybe you have Madueke, Trossard, and Gyökeres. Then you have
plus Ben White.
But then you have your 3. Then you have 1 midfielder, 3 defenders, and a goalkeeper, and then you're almost there. So it's but he said if he keeps performing how he does, you can't also ignore it either. But then again, it's 80%. These are it's you put him into a real game where it really matters. Yes, how would he deal with that? And then the players aren't going to hold back either. So this is Premier League football, and all of a sudden the step up is from pre-season, even just into Premier League.
Well, it's not like Newcastle held back.
No, no. No, they didn't, but they didn't going in really like full on and stuff. You play, and things like that. So you got to remember, he has looked good. He has looked exciting. So yeah, it's a tough one because you need to protect him.
It's tricky because on merit, you would say Dalman deserves a spot.
Yeah, he does merit a start, or he merits a bench place.
But
the problem
I think you've got
is
to put the seasoned professionals in
if
they're available.
If that's at cost of a player that could win you 3 points, then
and as much as it's not our problem, you do have to think about squad management.
Yeah,
and you cannot be pissing off your players from day one. It's easy to put Dalman and say, look, come on. Whereas if you were to not even get in a match day squad, a Trossard, a Martinelli, whatever, and he's ahead of you, I don't know. It depends. It either proves meritocracy. We're a meritocratic organisation, and all the rest of it. Versus, right, come on, we're professionals here.
Yeah, but you do it against the likes of Brentford, maybe, and then it can kind of be accepted that you've got another game in 3 days or whatever.
I think after those first 6 games of the league season, when the toughest stretch is kind of done. By then, you'll have seen all the sides play 6 matches. You'll have an idea of which teams you could afford to play the likes of Dalman against, or at least give them a spot on the bench. Yeah. These first few weeks, I think, Tabs, you're probably right. Like, even Leeds at home in match week 2, you want to get points on the board, like you said, Sparks. But we've got United away, we've got Anfield, we've got Newcastle away. Do we have City as well in this?
City at home. City at home and Forest at home.
Yeah. Oh, great. So almost no straightforward matches in the first 6.
I think they're only straightforward in terms of we got 1 game a week. That's it.
That's the good part of the first few games.
Yeah, so at least you ease into it rather than you can have another couple of training sessions before the next fixture. But that's as easy as it gets, isn't it? Really, to start off with, and then you go past the first 6 and you start getting the cup games anyway, don't you?
Well, actually, even before the first 6 games are done, we'll have Champions League match weeks start to come in then. Well, everybody will get match time.
I think before City,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we're down to. I think we're down to pot 2, which I don't. People were. It just makes no difference when it's the league table thing. I think it made a difference when it was a group stage. With the league table, you played.
But you played 2 teams from each pot,
and that's it.
So.
Yeah, actually, it's worse for other teams to have to play us. I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it makes sense.
Because we're one of the toughest pot 2 sides, I think.
Yeah.
So teams in the other pots wouldn't want to play us as the pot 2 side.
Yeah, it was only on a coefficient that I can't remember. Was it Chelsea?
Well, England can thank us. We're the ones that got the 5th spot, weren't we? After the Real
Madrid. Chelsea got in because they won the Champions League in 21.
That was
that was Club World Cup. No, they got their but their coefficient is higher in Europe because of last year and other stuff. So
it won't be next year though.
No, I think that runs
because
out
because they lose 25,000 points and we lose nothing.
Yeah,
because we weren't in Champions League.
Yeah. That's the only reason why we lost. We dropped down to pot 2.
Yeah, but so next year that won't happen.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, let's hope they're not in it anyway next year, so it doesn't matter.
Well, even if they are, it's a case of so long as we go the furthest, then we're well ahead of them
anyway.
Let's
hope we go all the way.
I mean, Man United are still above us at the minute, but they won't be for very long.
Well, they also made a European final, right? So it's understandable their coefficient.
They also get, I think they drop off about another 17,000, and we drop off 0. So it's and City as well.
Yeah,
drop off about 30,000, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. Before we go, then, who's going to win the league?
It's a tough contest.
Right now, before any transfers are made, You
Liverpool.
think so? You think we're actually going to get anywhere close to them, or do you think?
Well, that's not the question. We get close.
I've added a caveat to the question.
No, you know what? I'm backing us. It'll be us. We're doing
Okay.
it this season. It's us. We've got the depth this time, and I think there's still one more attacking signing coming in. I think it's us.
I hope
this
so.
time.
I hope there's two, but yeah.
It's us.
It's too hard to call.
Yeah.
If you had to say now, based on the evidence that
You do have to say now because I've asked you.
Yeah, but based on the evidence that I have seen, caveat. I know it's pre-season, but still, and just
Their signings have been good. They've had a good
there's just
transfer.
there's something nagging away that is, it's just there was something still missing.
Can I put a caveat on this one? I think if we win at Anfield in match week 3, then we win.
We win the league in match week 3. Don't do that.
I'm saying we will go on and build the momentum to win the league if we get a result.
That sounds like a Tottenham thing to say. Don't
No, because do you realize how long it's been since we've won at Anfield?
I will take the point now and run.
I would take a point. I think if we can get 3 somehow, then the momentum builds. Sometimes that one result.
If we get 3 points at Old Trafford,
let's hope so.
At the Etihad, and at Anfield.
Then we win the league.
We win the league. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying forget the other results. If
you're just talking about Liverpool.
So basically, we're winning the league on 3 points. Okay.
I'm talking about mentally how big that result would be if we can win it.
Yeah, I get that. But when it gets to match day 10, you forgot about match day 3, haven't you?
No,
I think these are Arsenal fans. It depends on the results.
I think it's kind of like, think back to. I mean, you guys would have watched the Invincible season, but you know that United away was the key result. Like that gave the belief. There were 2 big games, right? United away and Liverpool at home were the ones that made the result.
Yeah, happen. But we don't struggle against the top 6 teams, albeit we don't necessarily win them. We just
I'm not saying that yet. It's a new season. We don't know what's going to happen, and we're starting to one of the big 6 away. We have to see what happens.
They're not. They're Tim Pot 15th. No idea.
I don't say that. It's Old Trafford. Anything can happen. Old Trafford,
big 6.
It's time for us to show them who's boss. Well, maybe when we have been a much better team, we struggle. So fine, we go on a bit more even footing. I think great. Get everything done with. We've got no baggage.
I'd love us to just win at Old Trafford on match day 1. It would be fun to kick the season off that way.
I actually prefer scruffy 1-0s to Old Trafford. To be honest with you,
saying you wouldn't enjoy thrashing them the way Liverpool did recently.
I mean, I do remember the 3-0 when we were 3-0 up in 20 minutes. And
so imagine we did that at their place.
I mean that you know, I wouldn't complain. Let's put it that way.
Because I remember when we won their 1-0, not last season, but the one before. It was the second last game of the season, right? Old Trafford away, and Trossard scored the winner. I know we looked much better than them. I was still on edge that whole game because 1-0 is not safe.
Well, because we went 1-0 up and decided to defend the 1-0 lead.
I don't want that. That's the problem.
I don't think that's happening anymore.
Even because it's Man United, it's never a good idea because anything can
happen.
And
the thing is, last season,
I don't want it to be this 1-0.
And we did this last season too. That's why we had so many draws. We went ahead and then didn't try to just kill off teams. I don't want a scruffy 1-0. I want us to demolish them.
Yeah, go score 3 and then sit back and save it.
Yeah, fine. That's fine with me. Go 3 up and then sit back and let them try what they want to.
Yeah. We can park the bus now. We'll tap it around and we'll do whatever. I don't really care if you score 1.
Let them
just as long as you score in 88th minute, I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
So I can stomach 3-1. But yeah, I agree with Tabs. To be honest, I think Liverpool win the league. I know they haven't done it back to back ever in their lifetime. So in their history. So we've got that to cling to. But yeah, I guess it depends on what happens in the rest of the window, but we shall see. Time will tell, won't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll wrap up from there. Guys, if you're in here, please make sure you're hitting the likes and dropping the comments, subscribing to the channel. I will put in the comments Tab's channel as well. and then we can sort that out. You can go and follow that as well. What have you got coming up, Tabs?
I'm luckily enough going to the game on Saturday, so I'm
nice.
looking forward to getting down to the Emirates and watching the boys in
Nice.
the flesh with relative calm before the storm hits the following
There's
week.
no such
So,
thing
yeah,
as calm. They're all
that's,
they're all absolute nightmares.
I'm calm. I'm very relaxed.
Oh
about
yeah,
football. I'm fine.
yeah.
Yes.
You wouldn't like.
I've seen it. I've been there, done that, seen it all before,
Yeah.
etc., etc. I don't get too high. Don't
Yeah,
get
one
too
of the
low.
snarly faces next to me that telling me to shut up. Then
Relax.
Yeah.
Everything will be all right in the end,
Yeah.
and if it's not all right, it's not.
Everything's a heart
There we go.
attack, and yeah, that place will end me.
No. As I said, everyone gets what they want
Yeah,
out
for
of football.
sure. Yeah.
It's their own individual
It's a
thing.
release of whichever way you do it. So happy
Yeah.
days. Yeah,
Exactly.
thanks again, Varun. What nice to see you,
Anytime.
mate.
Thanks for having me on.
But yeah, that's us. This is Footy Corner. I'm Sparks, and we'll see you next time. Good night.